Back with the Mac. We'll talk about those inefficiencies in just a bit here, but talk to me about that moment. I get Dan Campbell is the aggressive coach. He wants to put his team in the position to win, and they often want to play from that leading position. Yeah. They didn't have that luxury in this game. Almost tried to force it there at the 12-minute mark. Can you try and find, I know Twitter's going to find a reason for it. Can you find a reason for it?
No, I'm trying to figure it out as well, because to your point, it's basically a full quarter left to be played in the fourth quarter, right? You just scored a significant touchdown. You're down 10 points. The momentum is kind of starting to shift in your favor. Kick the ball deep, play defense. Now, I can hear some fans saying, well, he didn't trust his defense. Well, if you didn't trust your defense at that moment, it's safe to say you shouldn't trust them at all. Because if you don't believe your defense can get a necessary stop, then you believe more so about kicking an onside kick, and the likelihood of you getting the onside kick is not likely. Play defense. Find a way to get a stop. If anything, you know, you can maybe get the football back in a better field position. When you allowed that onside kick, when you kicked it, it wasn't converted. Like you said, Isaiah caught the football. Outside of following the football, he actually returned it inside the 5. 2 plays later, they scored a touchdown. You just swapped touchdowns. You didn't do any good with the touchdown you just scored because of the decision to kick an onside kick. There's too much time on the clock for you to be that aggressive, in my opinion.
Maybe a year ago, if you're going to pull off a bell ring or surprise somebody at the 12-minute mark, but you have to announce that onside kick nowadays. They know it's coming.
Yeah, it's a different game.
And almost admission of that being a flawed theory or a flawed decision by Dan Campbell. They score a couple minutes later around the 4-minute mark, and they kick the thing deep, or the 8-minute mark, and they kick the thing deep.
Yes,
so
they're right back up 7. They're right back up 7, and to your point, you have to announce when you're kicking the onside kick. It'd be one thing if it's a surprise, right? A surprise, still a bit gutsy, but it's a surprise. They won't have their onside return unit on the football field. In this new age of kickoffs, you have to announce that you're going to attempt a kickoff, a onside kick. As a special team coach, once I hear that, I'm getting my onside guys on the football field to be able to return. I don't understand it. I felt like he was pressing in a moment where he didn't need to press because you had more than enough time on the clock to try to get a stop.
It was one in a litany of issues for this Detroit team here on Sunday that cost them their 11-game win streak at the hands of Josh Allen, who came out guns blazing. First 3 drives, 3 touchdowns, stating their intentions clearly, Mac. What did you make of the preparation that led into this game for Buffalo?
Well, their best playmaker was ready to go. Josh Allen played like a 5-star player, and they had no answer for Josh Allen. The first 3 drives for Buffalo, 7, 7, 7. If my math is mathing right, that's 21 points. That's a great way to start on the road in that type of environment. And Detroit defensively, we can talk about all the injuries on all 3 levels, right? They had no answer for Josh Allen. Josh Allen was the best playmaker on the football field, and for Detroit, they couldn't slow him down. They couldn't pressure him. They didn't have sound coverage in the back end. And for Detroit, I understand Aaron Glenn has been a phenomenal DC the entire season. But at some point in time, you have to take your play call away from the man button. When you play man defense in the secondary against a guy like Josh Allen, you leave your first 2 level guys in a world of hurt because everyone else is covering pass catchers. Josh Allen has the opportunity to either throw the football, run around all day, or just make plays happen with his legs. He picked either option, and either option was open.
It was all sorts of issues early on here for Detroit to get the offense going, but playing from that negative game script, a place they haven't found themselves often this year, an 11-game win streak snapped here at the hands of the presumptive MVP? Nah, not just yet. More reaction coming in as we take you back out to the site. Tony Romo offering his thoughts. And Tony, we like to go to these watershed moments in games, and I want to take you back to that 12-minute mark. Where do you draw the line between aggression and desperation? What'd you make of the decision for the onsides?
Well, I mean, you got to be who you are, right? And I think that has served them well. They won last week by being aggressive. So if we're going to give them credit when they do it well and then always nitpick when they don't, for me personally, that was a little early. I would have probably done it the next one if I wanted to be aggressive when they didn't do it. But I really think the 2-minute play with 2:03 to go, when they threw that ball, and they would have been probably past, the 50-yard line right there, and he drops it, that was huge because it took so long to get down there. Without that, you had them on their heels. They did not want to get up and be aggressive. You could have went down and scored with 1:15, 3 timeouts. You just saw Josh Allen use his legs. They used all the plays the drive before, so you really would have had a great chance to stop them and get it back with about 45 seconds, 45 seconds left. And, it just sometimes these games come down to a play or two.
Just as a matter of record, I did nitpick last week as well. I get the last one, but at your own 30. Be who you're going to be, but don't let it cost you.
I agree with that. I agree.
All right, Tony.
There's a fine balance.
Let's find the balance here, offense to defense, because these are two teams that can put the thing in the end zone with ease right now. But both of them showing some signs of defensive struggle, one by attrition, one by just execution. What are you making of those limiting factors on both sides of these two teams who have Super Bowl aspirations?
I think the biggest thing to that is you can't judge them right now when, they've been so decimated. Detroit winning through this stretch is such a unbelievable, trait, and just, shows their culture and determination. Next man up, truly. I mean, they had 4 linemen come back recently, D linemen, like starters, and it's like that's crazy to think you could still go on winning streak. And I think the same thing with Buffalo. I mean, you're losing 3 of your 4 secondary guys, and then you're going against what, the top 1 and 2 offenses in the league. That's a recipe for disaster. So anybody who would have, been in that situation is going to struggle. But the game is ultimately about winning. And I think both teams played more aggressively on offense because they knew they had to score. And it really just ends up coming down to which quarterback or which plays, go your way. But today, really, Joe Brady stood out to me. He's the MVP. Him and Josh Allen, he called a perfect game.
Well, let's go on Allen here, because that L.A. game, it's a shootout. They end up on the wrong side of it. This one, high scoring as well. They find themselves back in the win column. But when it comes to quarterback play, I'm always just interested in what you feel when you watch these guys. How has Allen elevated this year? Maybe changed things for the better even?
Well, I think his cadence, his rhythm, I talked about it on air, just the way that he is calm and poised in the pocket, it's different. He has continuity in the system now, so he gets to know really the second, third level, masterclass stuff. So he's not as fast to go through things. And when he gets nervous and everything, I think Joe Brady does a great job of making the play simple, making the game simple. And, they've been able to run the ball earlier in the year, and now they just kind of do what they want, I feel like. But this offensive line has played outstanding. This is the most under-the-radar offensive line in the National Football League. For them to really give him that kind of time today, in the first half, he was almost 4 seconds holding on to the ball, which is the longest of his career. And the only reason is because you're able to block these guys.
Notable on the other side of this one, Jared Goff, 490-plus and 5 touchdowns in a loss. Do you know the last player to have 490-plus and 5 touchdowns in a loss?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Tony, they made me do it.
I got a feeling I know.
Tony, they made me do it.
But you can tell me.
2013, but 490-plus and 5. We celebrate you always, Tony Romo. Appreciate you stopping by.
Who was that?
That was you, Tony. That was you.
I actually think I might have got... I think I might have had over 500 yards, if we're being honest.
We'll give you that, because it was just exactly. 490. Stats
look
and info.
Look up that data. Just look that up.
Tony Romo,
Minus
always
490?
a reason for... No. 500 plus. But the way we filtered that number, 490 plus and 5 touchdowns. Goff, 494 here in a loss. We'll see if they can figure it out defensively. Tony Romo, 500 plus.
And he... Oh, thank you. I appreciate the gesture, and that was a nice compliment, guys. I mean, that's rare to lose, and honestly, it shows you how good that offense is, but what a game.
Tony Romo, appreciate you playing along, as always, here on HQ. Be well, my friend. All right, a look here at Josh Allen's numbers. Rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a 2-game span. 5 times he's put it in paint with his legs. It was 3-3 last time they were out, 2-2 this go-around. 5 on the ground over the last 2. Call your own number, Josh Allen.